What's up? It's hashtag Ask Lauren. I'm hanging out in my little spare meditation room. You've seen this before. Today we're gonna talk about aliens. So I made reference to this in my last Ask Lauren. Thoughts on the world, and at the end I said something like, the only thing I know for sure is that aliens exist. And it's true. It's really the only thing I believe in. You know, I almost liken spiritual beings to aliens in a way. I do think that there are other people on this planet who, they're probably like a different type of soul or energy that got trapped in a human body. They weren't really meant to be human in a human shell. They're weird, and I think sometimes maybe they are among us. And by that I mean not the little gray men, but maybe just some type of sort of alien energy. I don't believe one thing for sure about aliens. There's probably lots of different types of beings and things like that. I mean, the little gray men kind of thing seems pretty feasible. They look like sort of physically evolved versions of humans, you know, larger heads, they're smarter and highly evolved, so their brains are bigger and their eyes are bigger, and everything's sort of elongated. So anyway, I'm gonna try to theorize and get into a little bit of explanation about aliens and what I think. This is all what I think personally. Again, when I say I know for sure aliens exist, I have one small UFO sighting story, and that's about it, and actually something more recent that happened that I found very interesting. So when I was a kid, I watched E.T., the Extraterrestrial, very classic movie, and I was terrified beyond belief. I thought that E.T. was real. I thought he was going to come to my house. I thought he was going to hurt me. I was scared of the way he looked. He looked really weird and eerie. I don't see how that's a kid's movie at all. It's terrifying. When I look back on it, it's like as though I inherently had a past life or knew that these beings existed, and now in this present human life, I was afraid that they were going to come get me. I thought if I thought about aliens too hard or for too long, that they could hear me and read my mind, and that they were going to come and abduct me. And at the time, I think later on, I also watched a lot of X-Files with my family. We actually would sit around and watch X-Files as a family, and all the stuff about Mulder and the aliens and all the abduction stuff terrified me. I was so scared of E.T. to the point of, like, my hair was falling out in chunks, and I was stressed and had so much anxiety. And at the time, my parents didn't really even know why, and I don't think I told them, because I was so shy and inside myself and terrified and afraid and anxious and worried that I didn't even communicate to them about what was really going on. And I think it came out a few years after that episode that we kind of put two and two together, and maybe I did tell them. Again, this is all very hazy. I just know that I was so scared. I remember waking up in cold, terrifying nightmare sweats like a few times. My mom would brush my hair and all this hair would fall out because I was so stressed out. And it came out after as well. My mom said that when she went and saw E.T. when it came out, she was pregnant with me. That's weird. So from the womb, it's like I was afraid of it or something, or it incepted me from the womb, and like, I think that's so weird and not a coincidence. You know, I've grown out of this fear now. I always say that I would love to be around and alive for the end of the world, and I would love for the end of the world to be an alien invasion, because that would be friggin' cool to witness. And I think I just want so badly for it to be real. I want the movies to be real. I want the abduction stories to be real. I want the UFOs to be real. I don't want them to be mean aliens like Independence Day, but I do want them, I want it to be real, that like they're there watching us, listening, observing, and that they somehow have a better plan for everything. Aliens have just been written about too much and talked about too much, and too many alien abduction stories for it not to be real. Don't you think that's weird that everyone has the same story and the same accounts? And when you look up in the sky and you see something weird, your automatic thing is like, it's a UFO. Like, it's very logical that it's a UFO. That's not far-fetched at all, and it's not. And that's why people think that. So once I kind of got over my fear of aliens and X-Files was over and all that kind of stuff, you know, kind of got put out of my mind. But I would avoid watching, and I didn't watch Fire in the Sky for a long time because it was so scary, and I knew it was going to be scary because it's like the most real depiction of what an alien abduction scenario looks like. And it is based on a true story from the guy's own account. I remember watching this like Unsolved Mysteries episode as well, where this woman was talking about how an alien was in her room, and they did the reenactment, and she like went to go close the door in her bedroom, and then behind it was an alien that attacked her, and they reenacted it. It was so terrifying. So I have all these like really vivid, terrifying accounts of watching other people talk about this, and it terrifies me. And part of me thinks like, maybe I've experienced this in a past life, and that's why I'm scared. I don't know how old I was, probably a teenager. I was in high school living at home. My mom and I were driving from somewhere, and I can't remember, and it was like nighttime, or the sun had just set. And in Mississauga somewhere, before a lot of the housing development was there in certain areas, I think I was like somewhere where you would drive into like it was like a dirt road without any housing around it. It was like just fields on either side driving down this road. And there wasn't really any cars on the road. And then we stopped at a four-way stop with one of those red lights hanging from the center, like the red stop sort of beacon going like this, but it was a stop sign. And someone's listening to Drake outside. So we were stopped there, and my account of this again is very hazy. Usually when people like talk about seeing UFOs or they have a weird experience, even a ghost experience or like a spirit experience, I've had like lucid dreams where I know there was like a ghost or an energy in the room that wasn't good. But when you try to recount it again, you're like, it's like you're convincing yourself it didn't really happen, but in the moment you for sure 1000% knew what was going on. And that's kind of like this UFO sighting story. It's so long ago, and I've told this story to other people, and I kind of go, well, maybe it didn't really happen. But in the moment of it happening, it was as if time was suspended for like a very brief moment. And for whatever reason, my mom and I were stopped at the stop sign for what felt like longer than normal. And I go, what's that? And I look, it's like I saw something very strange and large above our car, very large. It sort of took over enough that my peripheral was like, what? And you know, I'm mentioning that there was that red beacon stoplight just so that you know that I'm not confused that it's that. And I look, like I'm sitting in the passenger seat of the front car, and I'm like, what's that? And my mom goes, what the? And like something, she reacts like, it's weird what we're seeing. It's just like this big thing over the car, lots of flashing lights. And we're like, it's like we looked at each other and we looked again and it was gone. And like, that's the thing, is they're so fast. It's like they're just like dipping into this dimension and leaving again. I mean, that's what I think is happening, because how could one travel that quickly? That happened. And at the time I go, I think that was a UFO. And I think my mom was like, oh God, you're so silly. No, but she was like, that was weird though. And like, then I think if I told her the story now, she wouldn't even remember what I'm talking about. That's my UFO story. It's not that good. And then probably from that point, I started to like look into more like UFO things, like books and websites, and learned about the Roswell thing and Area 51, and got really into that literature. And like, I don't know it by heart. I don't know all the details. I'm not some kind of theorist, conspiracy person that like knows everything, but like, generally what I know about that stuff, it's probably true. Do I think the government's concealing some type of information? Absolutely. Not just in the field of aliens and UFOs, but probably lots of information. They are straight up probably lying about everything. I fall into that conspiracy theorist, you know, party. Like I don't, you know, trust no one, as Fox Mulder says from X-Files. That's pretty much my mantra. You know, and then on the flip side, working in like new agey spiritual stuff, the idea is to trust everything and trust the universe. So it's, again, a dichotomy like everything. You know, trust no one, meaning I definitely think the government is concealing information about the moon and space and aliens and technology and all of that, you know, sensitive information for sure. I don't spend hours of my time and energy wasted, you know, ranting and raving about this, or I feel cheated in some way. I just like the theory that nothing is what it seems, and so life on other planets must exist. How could it not? There's no way we're the only thing here in this massive universe. There's absolutely no way. And so I believe in all the things, aliens and ghosts and energy and spirits and spirit guides and past lives and time travel. I mean, time travel is sort of a weird one, but yeah, I just think there's some weird stuff going on. I believe in alternate dimensions. I believe in, yeah, people among us who aren't all human, who probably have some other thing in their energy path that makes them different, and it's all good. The more recent thing that happened that I thought was strange. Okay, so I believe in signs and synchronicities, and notice what you notice. If you notice something, you get a gut feeling immediately, you know the answer, you kind of know where you're supposed to go, or you know you need to be there or be elsewhere. Just follow all those instincts. And so putting together this house and trying to find pieces and things to put in the house to decorate it is something that I'm overwhelmed by, and I don't really want to rush to do that. But this room in particular, this meditation room, is a place that I haven't really utilized because the energy isn't good in it. There isn't anything in it. It's a big, hollow, empty white room. This is the only thing here. This I like. This gives me a good feeling, but to sit here and meditate in front of this still doesn't feel complete to me because there's no coziness in here. There's no cushions, there's no rug, there's no wall hanging, there's nothing, there's no plants. So I really want to get it to a place that makes me feel good, and right now it just feels like it's new and still being renovated on. So when I was in Los Angeles recently, I was like, I need to find something. John and I want to find things on our travels so we can collect pieces and art or pieces of furniture or whatever and have them in this house so that they're memories like that. So I was like, I need to find something in Los Angeles that's gonna fit in the meditation room. I really want to find something. I don't know what that is. I went to a store called Bazaar in the Abbot Kinney neighborhood. Is that even gonna focus? Anyway, it was a store of vintage pieces, antiques, things that the store owner, the curator, picked up on her travels and then resold. And I went to this stack of they looked like rugs, pieces of fabric, and I was like, oh cool, maybe there's a rug here or something I could put on the floor in this room. And this thing stuck out. It was all folded, like this in a stack. And I just saw this patterning, this black and white thing. This sort of graphic imagery is very me. I'm always very attracted to graphic lines and black and whites. And I said, oh, what's this? And I was drawn to it immediately. And I had gone in that store thinking, oh, there's nothing I can buy in here. It's all heavy old things and whatever. And then I saw this and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I picked it up and I was like, I must unfold this, even though that's kind of a pain in the ass when you're in a store. But I was like, okay, so I pick it up and I start unfolding it. And then the store person comes over, not the owner, but someone that works there. And she's like, oh, that's so great. That's a shipibo, She goes, it's an ayahuasca cloth. And I go, what? And I open it, and she helps me open it. We hold it up like this. Oh, okay. She goes, it's hand painted. It's an ayahuasca ceremonial cloth. And of course, ayahuasca is something, it is a natural occurring plant that contains DMT that you take with a mix of other things. And it's a ritual from Peru and the Shipibo native community. It's very ancient. And again, that's just the general description of it. But ayahuasca is something that people keep talking about, and people in my energetic sphere, the whole thing about ayahuasca keeps coming up. And I think that only makes sense because I talk about spiritualism and meditation and new agey things, and I'm obviously attracting that type of stuff into my realm. And people go on ayahuasca journeys and they go to the ceremonies and they cleanse themselves and they confront their demons, and it's this type of journey. And doing DMT is it's a natural psychedelic, and you have DMT in you and everything does, but it's sort of activated through this ceremony. Anyways, I know people who have done it, and I've never done it, and I always am terrified of drugs and things like that and hallucinating. I've never done psychedelic drugs. So I was always like, I don't think I'd ever do ayahuasca, but me and my friends, Lorena and Nat, who we do the meditation group, we kind of talk about how cool that would be, and I think one of them wants to do it. And I'm always just like, no. And Phoebe talks to me a lot about it, and she really wants me to do it, and I just feel why does everyone want me to do this? And why does it keep coming up? I'll be watching something so random, and then they'll refer to ayahuasca in whatever I'm watching, or I happen to do a search and then something weird comes up about ayahuasca. So anyways, this sort of call of ayahuasca keeps coming up in my life recently in the last few months, and I find it bizarre. And I've talked to someone else I know about their journey doing it and whatnot, and it's not to be taken lightly. So anyways, I thought it was weird that I was attracted to this ayahuasca ceremonial blanket. The women of the tribe hand paint this piece. It's very large. It's going to go on the wall here. And they all do a section of it, and then it all somehow connects. So it's hand painted into this textile, into this raw piece of cotton or whatever. And it's very special, and it's very interesting. and I've smudged it. Oh, and so the point that I'm telling you this for is because the woman that came over and she goes, and I said, oh my God, I want this. I go, it's an ayahuasca. I go, excuse me, did you say it's an ayahuasca cloth? She goes, it's from Peru. And I said, did you say it's an ayahuasca cloth? She said, yes, it's a Shipibo. She goes, I think that you need it. She goes, I think you should have it. I said, yeah, I'm really drawn to it. I said, I really like the pattern. I really want it. I said, I have a room it can go in on the wall. She goes, yeah. She goes, you know, people come in here and they buy things and I don't always think that they should be taking them out of the store, but I do think that you should have this, that it's meant for you. And she's like younger than me for sure. She's very cool. She's wearing a black like mock turtleneck. Artsy way, like she's very interesting, this girl, and she has really big eyes. And we're at the counter and I'm with my friend Maureen, and Maureen's talking to her. She wants to know about the store and where things are from, and this is the conversation we're having about this thing, and she's like, I think you need this. And then Maureen said something to the effect of like, you know, I love this store, like it's because everything's really old in it and vintage, and Maureen's like, you know, I think I'm from a different era, and the girl goes, oh, like, and Maureen's like, you probably think that's silly for me to say, and then the girl goes, no, I'm entirely from a different planet. She's like, I don't belong here. Like flat out, as a matter of fact, just says that. And then I'm like, well, she definitely knows then why I need this and whatnot. She obviously has some type of insight or instinct or feeling. And then when she said that, it just confirmed like, yeah, you're not from here. I walked into this store, I grabbed this piece of thing for whatever reason, and you're there to kind of facilitate that. And I was having one of those weird moments of synchronicity, being like, this is too weird and let's just go with it. So 1000%, that girl is what I'm talking about. Her energy isn't from here. She knows she's not from here. She doesn't fit in. She feels odd, and she doesn't have a problem expressing it. She's trying to find her way home, so to speak. And that to me is an alien as well. Whether that's the only kind of alien, I don't think so, but she's some form of something. And I think that's really cool. And I've met other people like that, and I've heard stories from other people of people they know in their lives who are like that. Sometimes even John jokes about me and says, you're not human, you're trying to be human, you don't know how. He's not saying it as an insult, but just in the way that I am sometimes, in the way that I think and feel, which I don't always express on this channel. But sometimes, I mean, I'm very honest with you guys, but there are certain things that I just don't share because it doesn't matter. But sometimes he jokes because I have like weird things with my emotions. Sometimes I'm emotionless, sometimes I'm emotional. I think we're all like this, but sometimes we just have this running joke that I'm like pretending to be a human being and I'm trying to conceal that I'm actually an alien. Which is maybe why I have this connection and this fascination with aliens. Who knows? Has this completely gone off the rails? Okay, that's my explanation. There's really nothing more to say. I hope you enjoyed listening to that rambling of otherworldly things, and wish me luck with my ayahuasca cloth. For now, I'm going to put it up on the wall, probably the opposing wall to here, over there. And I want to find, if anybody knows how to do this, I want to find something to frame it in so that it's weighted on either end so that it hangs weighted and straight. You know, I've seen little like wood rims that you put on the top of the textile on both the bottom and the top, and then you can hang it like this, the way you would hang a picture on a nail. So I'd like to do that. I don't know how to do that. But let me know if you know anybody. Thanks for listening. This has been #AskLauren. I got lots of questions in the bank that I need to do, so I'll get through those as soon as I can, but we do this every Friday. So thank you for being here and listening, and leave your comments and feedback and feelings below, because I do read the comments. So I'll see you guys later. Bye, and may peace be with you. Oh, that's what I meant to say. I come in peace. I really do. Bye.